This might just be the worst GPU ever. Let me explain. We all know and love the RTX 3060. It's the undisputed budget king. But nobody talks about its little brother, the RTX 3050. It was meant to be a budget card, but it was made so badly, not even a homeless person would want it. So in today's video, I'm going to be explaining why it's so bad, and most importantly, why you shouldn't get it. So let's start with the obvious reason, the specs. The 3050 comes with 8GB of VRAM, which sounds fine on paper. Most people see 8GB and assume it's good to go. But then Nvidia decided to pair it with 128-bit memory plus. For context, that's the same bus width you'd find on a card costing literally half the price. What it means in real terms is your GPU is basically starving. It's got the memory capacity of a mid-range card, but the bandwidth of an entry-level one. It's like giving someone a Ferrari engine and then making them drive on a dirt road with a speed limiter on. The card physically cannot use the VRAM it has efficiently, which defeats the entire purpose of giving it 8GB in the first place. Now let's talk CUDA cores, because this is where it gets worse. The 3050 has significantly fewer cores than the 3060. We're talking a proper cut down, not a small trim. Nvidia basically took the leftover silicon that didn't make the cut for better card and packaged it up with a fancy RTX label slapped on the box. Next up, actual performance. In real world benchmarks, the 3050 barely beats cards that are 2 generations older, like the GTX 1660 Super. We're talking marginal single digit gains over GPUs that came out years earlier and cost way less used. At this point, you're not paying for performance, you're paying for the RTX label and the ray tracing marketing buzzwords. And speaking of ray tracing, let's actually talk about that, because it's the card's biggest selling point on paper. The 3050 technically supports ray tracing and DLSS, technically, but when you actually try running ray trace games on it, frame rates tank so hard it becomes genuinely unplayable without DLSS carrying the entire experience. So you're buying a card specifically marketed for a feature it can barely run. Now let's get into pricing, because this is where the whole thing falls apart. When this card launched, it was priced way too close to 3060. We're talking a gap so small you'd have to be actively trying to lose money to pick the 3050 over its big brother, which offers significantly more performance for barely any extra cash. And in this current market, used 3060s are floating around for prices that make the 3050 look like an outright scam in comparison. Then there's the power efficiency argument, which is the only thing this card has going for it. Lower power draw, which means no need for extra power connectors on some models. It runs cooler, but here's the thing. If efficiency is all you care about, there are better options out there that don't compromise this hard on raw power just to save you a few watts. Let's also touch on build quality for a second, because a lot of the OEM versions of this card use genuinely budget cooling solutions. Thin heat sinks, weak fan curves, coil one that you can hear from across the room. It's not just underpowered, it feels cheap in your hands. So who is this card actually for? Well, honestly, nobody. It's too expensive to be a true budget option and too weak to be a real performance card. It's stuck in this awkward middle ground where it makes sense for literally nobody. Not gamers, not editors, not even entry-level creators. Which brings me to my final point. If you're looking at buying a 3050 right now, in this market with these prices, don't. Save the extra bit of cash and grab a 3060 instead, new or used. You'll thank yourself later, I promise. Anyways, that's why the RTX 3050 might genuinely be one of the worst value GPUs Nvidia has ever put out. Let me know down below if you actually own one. I want to hear if you defend it, because I genuinely don't think you can.